In the 1950s, one of Einstein's colleagues named Velikovsky theorized that there was a time when our planets were in the correct alignment, they were much closer together, and that they would have experienced some sort of plasma exchange, which would have been very devastating to the burgeoning Homo sapiens and the population, the primitive peoples here. David Talbot in the 70s took that idea and he found what is known as the Squatter Man glyph all over the world, which provided evidence for this actually happening. I've taken that and have found cultural evidence of this happening, and I was only looking for up to like 9,650 BCE for Atlantis, but my research has taken me far back into the most antiquity of history of man, the most antique, I should say. If my research is correct, then the Altamira Man Cave, which I am most certain now was done by intelligent design and is more of a religious shrine than just some poor fool fell in and starved to death. That takes us back to 170,000 years, and he is a Neanderthal human hybrid. Let's get started. All right, so this is what the original planetary alignment was: Earth, Mars, Venus, and Saturn. And this is what they were all on the axis of the North Pole. So we were all lined up, and that's what it looked like. And you see these images. That's the crown for Egypt. This is what it looks like. We were basically passing back Mars between ourselves and Venus until it destroyed Mars, and then it flung Mars out of orbit. Then we all got out of orbit, and we were lucky to survive and end up in the really great temperate zone that we are in. Okay, so this is what they saw in the sky. I am still determining how long this took place. So we're just going to skip that for right now and just say that it was seen all over the world. It created religion, spirituality. It brought people together. It thus creating laws. People designed clothing after it. Designed their cities after it. It started civilization. This is our androgynous fish god, which is more of a transsexual fish god because it seemed to have breasts and a schwanza. It was found all over the world. It's United Arab Arizona. There's tons more. You can look it up on the web. Just Google Squatter Man. This is what it looked like in 3D, kind of a champagne glass and a donut, and almost like a bell, a bellhop bell. But when you're looking at it in 2D and you can't tell that it's from that angle, that's the glyph that you get. We also witnessed a supernova in 1987 that gave us these images, which we also find throughout antiquity as our cross, the Rosicrucian cross, and this was called the Cosmic Mountain, I believe. This is also formed by plasma, high arc plasma. You can see where that comes from. From this shape, this is in Saudi Arabia. This was ancient Carthage, and you can see the arms up. This was the Phoenicians, and this is on the back of your dollar bill. See the same thing. Okay, so this is also another plasma charge they saw in the sky. That's why we get this glyph. This is also the origin of the menorah. There were others that, this wasn't the only one. This is also the origin of the Hydra. This is where it was used in other places in mythology. I explained the nubs the other day. Just wanted to bring up a picture. See where these dendritic tendrils of electricity, wherever they cross over each other, they create a little spark place like that. These are the nubs. Not all of the nubs, but if you look on a lot of the nubs, where the lines crisscross, like cracks in the stone, they put a nub. As above, so below. I think sometimes they represent stars, sometimes they represent eyes, sometimes they represent just decoration. They did it because they could. Okay, so this is something else that they saw in the sky. This sort of electric blast just going across, and that must have really reminded them of the Eneti Massif. The Popol Vuh tells us there were three peoples. The mud people, which I believe were the Neanderthal, because they said they couldn't move their neck, they couldn't speak that well, and they disappeared because they couldn't procreate anymore. They are the ones, I believe, who created the serpent cult, because the Altamira Man cave, 170,000 years old, is carved out to resemble the serpent handler constellation of Ophiuchus, and the Neanderthal grave is in the head of the serpent. So that shows intelligent design. That shows association with the serpent. This is the Eneti Plateau. I traced the serpent mound from Ohio. I found that it is a topographical map of East Africa. I traced the map. It led to Lake Chad, the egg part. This is the Eneti Plateau, and it has natural bizarre, I call it the alien Shangri-La of megaliths. Every single other megalith we find around the world is them recreating their sacred homeland of the Eneti Plateau, from the Moai on Rapa Nui to the odd funereal statues in Peru, to even in Utah, the stone arches. That is all the work that was passed on. There was in 170,000 BCE, Homo sapiens are around, Denisovans are around, who are 7 feet 5 inches tall average. You can look it up. They found them in Siberia in the cave. This is actual science. This is not like Bob's weird, like my site or something. So it was like a Star Wars cantina of all these people living together. The first people, the Neanderthals, shared the serpent religion and iconography, which was the high. If you make the high symbol without lifting your pen, you create the serpent. So this is where the second people, the Popol Vuh talks about the second people, the stick people. And I'm going to show them just a little bit. And this is where they came from. The second people, I believe, were our megalith builders, the really good stuff. The Eneti Plateau, the Eneti Massif, Lake Chad, was a verdant green paradise during the Pleistocene era. While everybody else was struggling to survive, they were mastering advanced Stone Age. Because these lines were in here, they developed their hiding technique through pareidolia. They realized how they could use pareidolia as a hiding technique. And I'm sure when they saw those in the sky, they must have thought, as above, so below, they're talking about us. And so as they saw images in here, they also saw images in that line. Okay, so I believe that the feathered serpent refers to the plasma discharge that was going across the planets. I don't think that it refers to the comet. I think the comet came much later, and the feathered serpent cult existed long before. So it may have been adopted, as in they saw another one, but the original feathered serpent, I believe, was a plasma arc. This is Quetzalcoatl. I think that looks much more like that than a comet does. When you think of a comet, it's just straight streaks, There's your dragon. All right, this is the Jupiter Aurora, and I find this very interesting because I know you see a face right there, right? So it also, imagine the circle, and then it has this very odd, almost geometric protrusion. Like, see the eyes and the mouth, and then there's a protrusion. You see it? Like it's laying flat. We see this a lot in like Japan, the major works. And I can't explain what that is. And then I saw this picture of this head with this coming out. I don't know if this is always on Jupiter, or if this is something that happens in auroras, or this is something they could have seen in the sky. I'm not suggesting that they saw the one on Jupiter. Maybe, but that's not what I'm suggesting. The same thing happened in our sky. If this is the Jupiter aurora and it's capable of happening there, I'm guessing they saw something similar in the sky, and that is what is responsible for that Japanese megalith looking like that. Further, this seems to have sort of a dopey look on its face, like the eyes are really close together and almost like a Gonzo from the Muppets' nose, right? I said I've seen that before. What, beak with two eyes close together. It's from the Göbekli Tepe pillar 43. Here's the beak. Imagine it's sort of like staring, over your right shoulder a little bit. Here's one. Here's where people write to me and go, I can't see what you're saying. All right, well, how about this one? Because it also looks like, and this was just for fun, but Charlie Brown, right there. Call that pareidolia. Okay, so this is another magnetic, not magnetic. I'm sorry, plasma discharge in black and white, and I like this one because it shows you this is what the 100 drunk boys are in the Popol Vuh. And this is an actual thing taken from the Popol Vuh. This is our road in Peru, the pothole road. We see them in different places across the world, where it's just these odd pothole roads that lead to nowhere and then just stop. This is what they're recreating, what they saw in the sky. It's the 100 drunk boys pattern, and it's at the bottom because that's where it also is on the Göbekli Tepe pillar, and because it's in Zabala, and that's where Zablanque, I want to say, he's suntanning, and he's down there, and the 100 drunk boys are bothering him. So these tend to collect on the bottom. Okay, this is another as above, so below, something else that you see how this is also like the Zeus thunderbolt, those that we see in antiquity. This might be why some people are afraid of clowns. I'm not kidding. I think this image has still a bruising effect on all of our psyches, collectively as human consciousness. Just like when you get into a bad car accident, some people's hair turns white and turn white in 2 weeks, after they're in the thing. That what happens to us physically manifests itself physiologically in unknown ways. If this destroyed their world, what more could, if this was in the sky, big as it could be, monstrous, and destroyed their world, what else could be bigger than that to leave an impression on the collective psyche? I think because that looks like that, I think this may be why some people are afraid of clowns. This shows more places where the glyph is found: Guyana, Spain, Italy, Venezuela, Tucson, Arizona. Okay, so this is another manifestation of the plasma that they would have seen in the sky. This is just things that happen with, and we see a lot of this. People think it's a praying mantis or something like that when we see the ancient glyphs. No, it's still this. It's still the thing. Also the head. You should recognize that as Yangana right away, where they got that for the dragonfly. Also, it's very bizarre to me how much these things look alike, Hollywood. And this is Star Wars, because Star Wars is a cult. Star Wars is a cult. I'm going to make a big hit out of that song. I'm coming for you, Lucas. Your $4 billion doesn't scare me. He doesn't care. He'd be like, yeah, what took everybody so long to figure it out? I'm counting my money. Leave me alone. So here's that plasma thing again. You can see where it's the inspiration for, you add that to that, and you've got Yangana. And Yangana also, we're going to start getting into the creation mother stuff now, the ancient occult origins, because Yangana was also a plasma deity, but she looked like that. But Yangana also looks like the female reproductive system. In fact, here are the eggs, and there are her dilly bags. These are Australian swaddling clothes for children. And these are the man bags that you see. The man bags mean a few different things, but this is because they didn't know what it was, so they kept changing what it meant. As it originally stands for the Altamira Man caves, because it also makes the high symbol. I'm going to show you. But it got changed. They forgot that interpretation, and just like Graham Hancock, they said it looks like a bag. So it became these dilly bags that everywhere else in the world got one bag because they are all coming from Australia that seeded and Yingana seeded the world. Okay, so yeah, so she's also Yingana, the creation mother, is also the female reproductive system. This matches also our squatter deity. So you can see how already the wheels are turning as to, because this is the squatter, the plasma deity that they saw in the sky. You can see already how the wheels are turning where they're saying, say, we turn that into a grid like this, and or just looking at it like that, and this is kind of a match, they're saying. So that's how that became equated with the mother goddess, the sacred feminine. Here's our grid again. This is a Dogon shaman in Africa. You see, it's practically the same. Look on his head here. That's another way they were remembering. Now, look at his face. See what his face is doing there? This is called a Markland convection. And look what it creates. It's almost like it looks like an alien face, right? Well, the plasma density. This is what's happening in a plasma charge. So they would have seen this in the sky, and that's what they're creating. And then you had the deity itself on top, which they are recreating with their on top. Okay, so let's get back to this iteration of the plasma discharge that occurred. This is also the birth of this is the Jewish plate that they used to wear on their chests. The priests who handled the Ark of the Covenant, that's where this comes from. See the grid? You know, this is all explaining the plasma deity. It's more this one that they saw in the sky, right there. But you see how you can create him inside of you, the arms, and then the on the side, and then the legs, and then this would be so you have the head, the arms, the things, the legs coming down. These are the spheres on the side, and then this is Shvanza. So that the shield that they wore, the 12 tribes of Israel, it's coming from our grid. They just added more boxes so that they could put all of these things in here. They put the arms in here, the legs in that one, the Shvanza, and then the thing. Shvanza is from Young Frankenstein, I think. I hope I'm using that right. Okay, so this is what they also saw, right? This was the alignment of the planets with the sun and everything. This is what was going on, and this is what that looks like from the top. Again, this is the plasma. This is how plasma travels in between, and this is what that looks like it's seen from up top. This also, to me, if you take the outside here and use that as a head, I think we've got our serpent. We find this everywhere. This is Egypt. This is Sacsayhuaman. This is Cusco. I think they're making. I think the other snake is the topographical map because it's so odd. It always looks like a coastline, but because this one is so uniform, I think this is what we're suggesting. And he even has a snake head at the top. So I think that's what we're looking at, the Birkeland or Markland convection, or the Birkeland current, one or the other. I forget. I'm not an electrical engineer at all. I'm learning this stuff as I go. This is also another version of what this is, two-dimensional. So this is what is going on here. Okay, this is a visual representation of what creates this. These are donuts. These aren't holes. These are all tori, I suppose. But you see this in the sky, and it creates the caduceus. I was close with my original theory, but then I saw this and I was like, no, they just saw it in the sky. It's it's the same imagery that they're shuffling around. The very you got to think it's very simple times. They're dealing with snakes, birds. They're just basic common things they're seeing in their natural world. A disc, a decapitated head. So this is where the caduceus comes from. I don't even think it needs explaining, right? There it is. Okay, the caduceus also is the tree of life. How it lines up, it is also matches with the uterus. The uterus is literally a tree of life, and it also matches up with our chakras. This is the birth of chakras. That's they are the this is what they're drawing in the sky that they saw, and they are corresponding that with the human body and where your chakras would be. This is what they saw in the sky again. This is the planetary. These are the planets that are lined up. We can see Mars, then the glow. Here's Venus, and then that's Saturn. Jupiter's back here too, but Saturn's too close for us to see it. This is just a part of the electromagnetic aurora. This is our plasma deity in the sky. You see the Genghis Khan hat. You also see the nun's hat there. That's where that came from, the Mother Superior. What else we got here? Oh, so the inside, if you trace the inside of it, like this is the head, these are the shoulders, and like somebody's sitting down, that's where the Buddha comes from. And they are reflecting also the chakras, the connecting points of your body is electric. It's reflecting what is in the sky. All right, so not just that, because this is the inside, right? This is the inside, but this is where the Buddha comes from. This is also happening, the Markland convection. You see how he's sitting? It's coming down, your energy's coming down and out, down, and just like that. This is where the Buddha also comes from. These are taken from the Voyage manuscript. Everybody wants to know the big secret. What's the Voyage manuscript? It's all esoteric. This is the Markland convection. There, that's a Voyage manuscript. I mean, you can almost draw it on top of it. Here's the Markland convection. Here's the Voyage manuscript. Just keep drawing it over and over again. I think part of alchemy was discovering electricity. Let's take a look at this guy again. Markland, and now we start to get into India, right? You see how it's the same pattern. They're all drawing the plasma deity by way of its Markland convection. Let's get inside. This is also what's going on. Forces between Birkeland currents. This is when you have two rods. This is something else. This is not what they were seeing in the sky, but it's something that I want to show you because I think the ancients knew about this, and I'm going to show you why. If you look at this from the top, it looks like that, and this is an ancient esoteric map. I think they're just hidden, what's going on because they're playing with electricity. This is also found in caves that I don't think they're doing it. I don't think they have the powers, but I think they're recording what's going on in the sky, and this is what happens in the sky when you have the Birkeland currents, with these being the planets. This is also the pelvic bone, the female pelvic bone. So they're tying it all together. If they they're finding that this matches that, and if this matches, anything matches the plasma deity, it becomes venerated. And because the currents that they're finding are matching what they find on the female body, they're associating the energy with femininity. So it's becoming the sacred feminine energy. Here's something else to show you. This is Newt Gunray, because Lucas knows. Lucas! Oh, I'm coming for you, Lucas. He's like, somebody talking? I can't hear you over my money falling around me here. The female coccyx, the pelvisophone, is also the high symbol. They associated with the high symbol. So we have all these things tying together with femininity and life and the plasma deity. So they're all coming together in antiquity to become the occult ancient origins of the sacred feminine, of the mother goddess. So again, you can take the plasma deity you saw and you can turn it into a grid. You can turn this grid, if you put the circle up here and put this down and connect the dots, you have the female symbol. You also have the Ankh, depending on where, you could just cross it right there. And then these become connected to the spheres, or you could just say that the Ankh is. But the point is that it's all the plasma deity. It's all coming back to it. This again is our Birkeland current that goes between two rods like that. And if you consider something like this going between the planets, because it's ever in flux. It's not just staying in one place. Think of a plasma ball, all the different things. Now think of like a plasma ball being reflected in the magnetosphere and everything that's going on. I don't think that it was just one thing that they saw in the sky, because we see too much evidence of multiple plasma deities all grouped together. So I think they were seeing stuff like this in the sky. And again, once it gets down here to this really thick stuff, I think the people that were living in the Neti Massif must have been as above, so below. That's us up there. And just like they in the natural forming lines of the Neti Massif, this is where they got Mount Rushmore, by the way, because our government knows. See my Mount Rushmore videos. Hello, Lincoln. That's how they're hiding stuff. And I'm sure they saw the same faces and stuff like that, and they thought, this is it. This is the divine place. Anything you find that matches your paradigm of religious significance is going to become venerated. If you come by a rock, if you worship Mickey Mouse and you come by a rock that's shaped like Mickey Mouse in antiquity, you're gonna worship the Mickey Mouse rock. So they see this in the sky when they say, "Oh, I see faces in the in the electric currents jumping back and forth," and they see this in their rocks, and they think we are living in a divine place. Look at the two rods coming up like that. This is Inca and this is Egyptian. I think they're hiding it in the open. I think the ancients figured out electricity on a basic level. And I think the plasma deity in the sky, they were wondering about the nature of it for hundreds of thousands of years. And that would cause them to experiment, to try to recreate. They could see lightning afterwards. They could see Aurora Borealis afterwards. It would keep them continuing to experiment. We know the Baghdad batteries that go far back in BC, they're before the Common Era, I believe, off the top of my head. They're creating electricity. They are aware of electricity. And this looks so much like this. Like, why wouldn't, if you had mastery over such a magic as electricity back in primitive days, why wouldn't the king, the emperor, the chief, yes, I am the master of that magic, and he's wearing it proudly. And I think these are these are for Birkeland currents. He's not on it. He's not doing it on his head, but he's representing that we have mastered. This magic is mine. This is the synaptic cleft that jumps between, and it's plasma. See? Fire plasma. That jumps between this Birkeland current. And if you'll notice, it is a high. So here is another symbol where, and I'm sure the original high symbol had a glyph on the opposite side as well. But this creates so that, again, we're equating electricity with life. Give my creation life, just like Frankenstein, using lightning to create his monster. We have electricity coursing through us. That's what makes your muscles, they're shocked into contracting. Electrolytes, that helps the electric charge. Your generator, you ever see the Matrix? You are a 9-volt battery. Okay, so this is also the Tesla logo, by the way. I see you. I see you. I see you, Tesla. I know what you're up to. The elite know. I don't know. I make fun, but underneath of it all, I'm warning you. The elite know something that you do not, and I'm teaching you. So here we go again. This, I don't know. To me, that's a match. To me, they're hiding it out in the open. This would be the supreme power back then. Of course, the emperor, the king, the pharaoh would represent that that only he would get to wear that representation. And look how long they have to be. I think that was part of a secret thing that they had. I think this explains our cutting tool, because you can cut with that. I was looking it up online. You can use this arc to cut with. So I don't know how they're generating it, but they're seeing the plasma in the sky. They're seeing the currents in the sky. We see all this imagery. Here's some more. Take a good look at this, right? And this is what they found in the pyramid. These were two of the objects. These are also mentioned in the Popol Vuh, that this is their father's gaming equipment that the rat scratches out of the rafters. But look at the shape of this. And it's got 1, 2, 3. And look at the shape of this. It's the same. It's the same. Are we looking at our where the current? Because I tell you what this also reminds me of is the Ark of the Covenant, where the cherubim are facing each other. And if a synaptic cleft, that was the mercy seat. That was where the magic happened. You could supposedly talk to God. Those cherubim wing coming that close together could very easily have had a synaptic cleft jumping between them. I don't know how they're generating it, but the Baghdad battery shows that they figured out electricity, copper and lemon juice and iron tube and stuff. So they were experimenting. That's ancient Persia. So 200,000 years is a long time for trial and error. Okay, so yeah, there's Tesla again. So here is the light bulb at Dendera. And everybody says, oh, it's not a light bulb and stuff. I study this stuff really extensively. I've never seen anything else like this. And this snake, I told you already my thoughts on that I think that serpent snake is this. I think they saw that as a snake, and it's got a snake head at the top. They understood this electrical property. And I think that is what is being represented in the Dendera light bulb. And it just looks like a light bulb. I'm so sick of academia and everybody telling us you can't see what you see. It's logically not. So I remember I made the analogy of the cake. We didn't make the cake, so there can't be a cake here. Even if we eat it and it tastes like cake, there's a cake here. The way it's connected, this looks like a wire, this looks like a junction box. But here is the interesting thing to me. Look what Sekhmet, the female, and I don't know why, and there's got to be a significance as to why Sekhmet is doing this. Look what she's holding. That looks awfully like, you couldn't hold it while it was on. But it almost, again, looks like she's hiding out in the open, like she's holding the device. What else are there? Knives? What's she going to do? Carve up the emotions? I remember they said something about that. It's the aura of him. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this is, their imagery is just like, they weren't that out to lunch. Okay, they were making things stylistic and hidden, but it wasn't these ephemeral, things that, this is the life coming out of the lotus. No, it's electricity and it's a light bulb. We don't find any soot. They're using something to work inside that is not flames. And she looks like she's holding, or this also looks like the owl. She looks like she's holding the cables, the arc thing. Funnily enough, that also looks like the female reproductive system. So I think we are seeing where feminine energy, and again, it is Sekhmet who is holding it, a female goddess. Again, we use the sacred, feminine, literal energy that's being used. The female reproductive system also represents the Markland convection. That so it's all tying together for them. This is the birth of the mother goddess and the sacred feminine literal energy. Here's the Markland convection. Here is a mask in Africa that they're making. You know, when you've got this coming down, when you've got everything represented here, it's really hard to say this isn't this. They're not representing this. We see these as well. This is cave paintings. This is see how these are splitting off, just like these are splitting off. Again, this is something they probably would they're seeing in the sky, the effect go through the sky because it's connected to Earth. The other wire is us. So this is one planet and this is us, and we are the two planets that this is stretching in between. Follow me? Okay, so this is also what they're seeing in the sky. Again, this is somewhere else and this is us. And this just looks, completely like this, including because this is also a penis, balls, sorry, testicles. So that's what it got turned into anyway, because this is the vagina, this is the yingana, and this is the symbol of life. It's a high, and this is a penis going into a vagina. So, but it's also what they saw in the sky. See her. This is the pharaonic garb. By the way, somebody needs to start a band called Pharaonic Garb and the Plasma Deities. Pharaonic Garb and the Plasma Deities. In 1982 awaits you. Okay, so you see how the sides became the sides. And you can also see where the cobra became venerated. All right, so here's where it gets weird. I'm going to let you see a little of my Da Vinci stuff just because this is where it really fits in, and it's so bizarre. Da Vinci unlocked everything, and there is a look online. There are places that you're supposed to put a mirror, and it becomes a different image because he's got just characters just pointing different places. So people got ideas and said, I'm going to put a mirror there, and then these weird things happen. I think I figured out what it is. So, okay, here's our Markland convection, right? Here is the Jesus that he made. What's he saying? I think they knew about plasma, electricity. I think they weren't allowed to say anything because they would have been burned at the stake. This was done during the time of Catholicism really ruling with a heavy hand. Copernicus even had to wait till after he was dead to post his heliocentric theory of the solar system. So I think they knew about, and you got to remember, Ben Franklin discovered electricity not too long after this, officially, Here's another one. This is another thing Da Vinci made. I think he's telling us, I think it's a secret, and this isn't aliens. It's the electrical process. I think they know, and they weren't allowed to say they know because this was seen as like magic or the devil's work. I'm going to show you later that Catholicism is just another. All religions are the plasma deity, plasma deity derivative, and whoever plasma deity derivative religion wins is in control. They're the ones in power. So my plasma deity religion beats up your plasma deity religion so that I can tell you what to do. And that's what's been going on ever since. We all the holy wars, everything. We're just fighting over it's systems of control over whose plasma deity faith wins out. So here we go again. Show you one more time. And this is Da Vinci, one of the smartest people who ever lived. So if anybody was going to figure this out, he's one of them. Okay? Here's where we have seen this now in popular culture, though, where it's worked its way into popular culture. Became the Cyclops. Also, I keep saying Hollywood knows. Hollywood knows. So it would not put it past me for Matt Groening with his sense of humor in The Simpsons. Like, you know, you got to remember who I'm saying notice. It's artists, visual people who draw, who pay attention to detail. So we see here's the Markland convection, and here's our alien friend from Simpsons. Again, like my mind works, it's a Google image search. Something comes up and I go, and it all just comes up. And sometimes it takes me to places where I'm like, he could know. Somebody keeps sending me all this stuff about South Park too, and those guys got more money than God. If anybody's elite, they are, and they're visual, and they would totally be into finding. Somebody said there's an episode of South Park with Butters as the plasma deity, the Squatter Man, and he's got a messed up eye and a star and everything. Like, they're just totally putting it out there, just like M. Night Shyamalan. If you look on the cover of the Signs movie poster, it's the template done in geometric form, and then it says it's not like they didn't tell us. He's having a joke. He's having an in-joke at all our expense. He's telling us, here's the template. I'm even showing it to you. And then I'm putting the words on it, being a smartass. It's not like I didn't tell you. Here it is, right here. I'm the one, it's the they. So, all right, so here we go again. This is what Da Vinci himself did. There's the Markland convection. And that's on Mars. That's the Olympus Pons. I'll show you again. The Olympus Mons, I'm sorry. And this is Cairo, and Cairo means Mars in local tongue. This is Giza, and as you can see, Giza also seems to follow this Markland convection, and this is Mars. Why is there Giza means Cairo means Mars? And on Giza, we find 3 pyramids, and somebody mentioned there's some that could be flipped. I think it is. I think it is matching. I think it is a diamond. I think there is something. This is the Abu Rawash right here. But I think the pattern is a 4, because what this matches is the nativity stones that we see. And I should have popped some of those, but you see them on Rapa Nui, Skoda's grave. You see. I think they're in the Altamira Man's cave as well. And they're freaking on Mars. What's going on? 1, 2, 3. And this is the Muslim graveyard. There's something sacred here. And I said before, this follows the palette. This would be the Yanni, the line. Down here would be the necropolis or Zabulba. I even found the Pavo and the head. There's something here to be discovered, because that's where the plasma deity head goes. Somewhere in modern Cairo, if you go straight up from there, right where the bird beak would be, I had this a little low actually, it'd be up here. There's something hidden there special. I'm certain of it. It's X marks the spot. Go ahead, you amateur Indiana Jones. Okay, so here's something else you see. The magnetic current. This would have also been in effect with the plasma deity that's going on, because the Earth has a magnetosphere. Well, just take a good look at this arrangement, everything that's going on, right? Because Da Vinci made another painting with another thing that, there it is. I think he's really showing us that they are stuck. Who else? Da Vinci. You know what I mean? One of the greatest minds who ever lived. They are experimenting and know more about electricity than they are allowed to tell, because they will get killed by the church, because the church does not want people to know all this stuff, because they would lose their system of control. There you go. And guess who else that is? Because Star Wars is a cult. Star Wars is a cult. Everybody, Star Wars. I'm coming, Lucas. Your 4 billion can't protect you from the truth. He doesn't care. He's probably laughing the whole time. All right, so also Vader is a high symbol, and in a way, he's almost kind of, because if you see the eyes and it's like the high symbol over top, the high symbol, and here's the fallopian tubes, and here, I know, but just put the high symbol over there, and you have Darth Vader. The female, and he's using the imagery as the bad guy, ladies. So consider that. This image is also it's Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is also, because he's also the plasma deity, but because here are the circles around the plasma deity, because they're associating the plasma deity with sacred feminine energy. The plasma deity is the mother goddess. They found out that, hey, this looks exactly alike. They must be sacred. This must be sacred. And so that's also a meaning of Ophiuchus. The mother goddess is up there. Ophiuchus, with this holding the snakes, this is Viracocha, this is everybody that's holding snakes. But this is where the snake arms come from that we see developed. Ophiuchus is holding snakes, and then they just went ahead and turned the snakes into arms. Here's what I want to show you. Ophiuchus is also he's also a high symbol himself. There's because I think in the ancient times there was another glyph here, and it would have because it's the plasma deity, and so they took that one out to hide it, but the symmetry should be there because it's Ophiuchus. Now here's the interesting thing as well. Ophiuchus constellation, and this is what places me 175,000 years ago. This is the main thing. I traced the Serpent Mound from Ohio. It's an East Coast topographical map of Africa. The egg takes you to Lake Chad. They were very specific about making the egg and the serpent head significant. This cave system for Altamira Man matches the Ophiuchus. There are extra stars in here that I know that it's not, but look, see how his knee goes up? That could just be the snake part right here. It's people have written me, oh, it doesn't look anything alike. There are stars. You have to play with the stars. It's basically there. You're talking about tens, if not 100,000 years for this thing to be altered. But it is essentially the same because I'll show you why. Look what he's got in his hand, a snake. The snake is also the high. Right there. The whole thing. See this is the snake part. It's making a high symbol. The Altamira Man is in the tip top. This is the seats even got they even have a little thing on it. He's in the snake head. If we take this same map and assume that it's the topographical map that they use for the Serpent Mound, this is placing him at Lake Chad. This is a Neanderthal human hybrid, 170,000 years old, that has the high symbol and the Ophiuchus. They carved this out. It even has the look. See that face? That's the template. There's always a decapitated head in the bottom right. They even made the whole thing. They carved this out, or they found it. It was a natural match, and they altered it somewhat. But the stalactites in here and the calcium deposits on the Altamira Man in there, who is a match for the Neanderthal skulls found in the pulpivul, and the positioning of the skeleton that they find, and the fact that there's imagery in there. There's a pavo head in there, and the whole thing, it's Zabulba. The bones there matches a story. The rocks that look like bones matches a story in the pulpivul. The whole cave system matches the underworld of the Zabulba of Pulpivul, with a cave of knives and a house of darkness and a house of cold. So that's how I believe that the Neanderthal man was the proto-Jewish. It goes 175,000 years ago. It was began by the deification of the plasma deity and the plasma exchange in the sky. This was the Altamira Man cave system, which is a match for the Ophiuchus constellation, which places that also. By the way, the Ophiuchus constellation, they say, comes from Persia, and it's like the Nagini or something, and that's where J.K. Rowling got Nagini for the snake in Harry Potter. But it's a snake in the ancient Persian. The one that they say Ophiuchus originally was this ancient snake constellation. The snake, the serpent, it was the high. You make the high without lifting the pen, and that creates a serpent or whatever you're marking with. The Neanderthals that were in this cave that created this tomb, and this may also be where the Jewish tradition of putting bones together in a box inside a cave or a tomb, that where it originates from. This is Proto-Judaism. Okay, so let's move on. But that's where I say my research has taken me back to 175,000 BCE, when the Altamira man cave is dated to by the calcite that's found on him. All right, so let's move on. So again, we have our plasma deity in the sky. This I found on a cave drawing in Algeria, which is right on the border with Lake Chad. It's another plasma deity, but it's not just a plasma deity. It's it's a match for our Altamira cave system, and she, my friend, even has the knee up. Boom, right there. And see how the head comes off a little bit, right? That I think this is not just a plasma, because this was also they're creating the plasma deity. They're burying him in the plasma deity in the serpent head. This is the plasma deity. The electricity would go through here, so it appeared that this character was holding snakes. That's where they got that. Okay, so this is also that. And I think this is also a map of the Altamira man cave, because they knew about it and they're in Algeria. And they had Homo sapiens like us have been around for 300,000 years, literally 200,000 years, conservatively speaking. So, that's a lot of time to cover the earth with people and so anyway. Here's our grid again, our plasma deity grid, and I found more of these on caves. This is what they're creating. This is also the 100 Drunk Boys electric pattern. Here he is again. This is another one, and I love this. You got the serpent. Look, he's just giant in the sky, and they're all on the ground here looking up in the sky like, what the hell? And this is what tells me there was more than one thing happening in the sky. We see more than one image like this, and I don't think they meant, well, this happened and then that happened. This guy is also this guy, and I just want to remind you the grid, and this is how the grid makes the because it's a match, because they're matching it all together. This is how it became the sacred feminine, because all these things connected. This is how it became the mother goddess. Okay, you see how everything matches up? Okay, so let's get to the idols. This is Matt from Ancient Architects, who thinks I'm nuts. Hi, Matt. Love your work. Somebody did the face swap, put him in there. I thought that was pretty funny. This is our fertility goddess that is in the Indiana Jones movie. You should be able to tell right away that she is a squatter deity, first of all, because I'm sorry, plasma deity. Her arms behind her back are making the O's. We see that a lot, like with bird imagery. This is the Schwanz, I usually say, but they've turned it into a child coming out. We find these dolls a lot around the world. These sort of fertility little squat figures. We even have one, the egg. They came out. Look at that exquisite carving. They even sometimes, turn it into a guy, because it looks like a Schwanza down there. But we see this face too. We've seen this face before, because what they're doing is they paint their faces right here so that their eyes become the circles of the squatter deity, and then this becomes the legs going down. So they're making the squatters put the head here, the arms going up. These are the circles on the side. These are the legs going down, and usually they stick out their tongue to make the Schwanza. I can just keep saying Schwanza if you want. Okay, so this is in the Aneti Massif, the Aneti Plateau. Remember, I traced everything back with the serpent mound. I think at one point these two rocks were somewhat connected. I don't know if they got disconnected by an earthquake, or perhaps the people who conquered them decided in a FU to them, broke their statue because it matches that. And this is found in Malta because they are recreating their sacred homeland across the world. So every megalith, every major stonework we find across the world, you will find a parallel back at the Aneti Massif, because this was our first builders. So they saw this and said, this looks like two figures together. It also is the optical illusion of, I guess you would say, a headless woman. So they liked that because their artists were magicians. Nothing was just one image. Everything was, cave paintings were meant to be seen by firelight. So you have different depths. It's something, one flicker of the light, it's something else, another flicker of the light. It has movement, it has motion, it has depth and feeling. Same thing with their carvings. They did, like, I'm sure somebody's got a laser scan every single ancient piece of work, because there's hidden carvings on everything. And they did it with depth. They matched the depth. If I want this picture, I do extra hard. If I want this other picture, I do it medium. And in that way, you can never see everything. Depending on how the sunlight hits it or the light hits it, you're going to see different things. And that's why it's so hard for me sometimes to create image, because I'm adjusting the frequencies of the definition and the everything else, and images are coming forward and then receding like that. And to try to create some sort of equanimity where you see everything is really difficult. All right, so this evolved into this. That's in Turkey. Again, this is Malta. This is another example. I think that's also Malta. But this became, we call them Venus dolls, the mother goddess, the sacred goddess. And it traces back to the Aneti Massif, where everything traces back to. And it's just sort of now evolving to just a woman. Because I no longer see, you see the evolution that it took over the years. It's becoming less and less the Aneti Massif, because I don't think they remember anymore what the original thing was. They think it is just a woman, and then they're like, why doesn't the woman have a head? And so they gave it a head. And this one I like, because it's like, at this point, it's just completely lost the thread, and it's like, I don't know what this is, a thruple or something going on there. So let's take it back to our plasma deity. Here's our grid. Here's how it is a high. Here's the Altamira Man Cave again, and it's a high. So this tells me also the Altamira Man Cave is 170,000 years old, and that's the proto-Jewish faith. And the Neanderthal human hybrids were practicing it 170,000 years ago. We all come from the same plasma deity-based proto-Judaism, because the symbolism comes from the plasma deity, and this was the birth of Hebrew. This is also our 3 chambers for our man bags. This is the Altamira Man Cave. 1 man bag, 2 man bag, 3 man bag, and these are very fascinating. Nobody knows this. There are tunnels underneath Scotland that run from Scotland to the Mediterranean, under the water, everything. They're 12,000 years old. There are tunnels in the limestone that connect Scotland to Europe, to mainland Europe. Why were they doing this? I'll tell you why. Because this guy was raining holy hell down on him for a long time, and it was docile for a long time, until the planet, the Mars thing, just got too out of whack. And then the gravity situation, mass has gravity, and it just destroyed Mars, and it was destroying our planet as well. But why else would you go through the effort of creating tunnels that stretch from Scotland to the Mediterranean? That's how they got to Scotland. That's why the best pillars are in Orkney. The best, I believe that the people who came from Göbekli Tepe tunneled underneath the plasma deity discharges that were going on all the way to Scotland, and that's where they continued their and what are they making there? They're making the Aneti Massif. Those columns that you see are what we find in the alien Shangri-La megalith paradise, Eden. Aneti is Eden, of where they came from. They're recreating. But look at this. These are highs. These are highs. 12,000 years ago. These are the man bags. They're talking about their caves. This guy I love so much, Abdel Hakim Awian. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. He was a wisdom keeper in Egypt with Stephen Mailer in chematology. Just priceless. I regret I never got to meet him. Just every word he says is just gold that should be treasured. He says that the ancient Egyptian society was a matriarchal one. And here is the plasma deity. Again, if you put the circle up here and you connect this as a plus, it creates the feminine symbol. So if you have the head up here and you just connect this and then these, it creates the female symbol right there. This also creates the, like I said earlier, the Jewish template that they wore for the Ark of the Covenant. It also creates the Temple of Solomon itself. They just, you can just match these up. They're not matched how I did it because I showed that it's still it's a Temple of Solomon is Sol Amun, the temple of the Saturn sun is what it is, because the God of the Old Testament is the plasma deity. I'm a wrathful God. I'm a vengeful God. It destroyed the world. That's not a loving, kind, benevolent God. So this is their layout, and it's based just like the Forbidden City, just like Teotihuacan, just like the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. They are all made out with the plasma deity template. Okay, with the Holy of Holies being the but because it's called the Holy of Holies, it's not a male. It's a whole. It's the whole of holies. It's the feminine energy, and I'll tell you why. Look at what they've put in the high position. It's also the feminine plus, right? The Judaism started off as a worship of the feminine energy. It started off as a worship of the sacred feminine. It's just like this genius, Abdel Hakim Awian, was saying, is that they were a matriarchal society. The religion began to be a worship of the sacred feminine. Look what they have at the top, where the plasma deity had the court of women. They're putting women at the top. The sacred place is called the Holy of Holies. This is the sacred feminine. This is a worship of the mother goddess. However, it became usurped, and it became a male power thing, and I'll show you how. Okay, so this is Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus, as I showed you, becomes a high symbol, right? They're missing the other glyph. They took the other glyph out for a reason, because that's what also made the female reproductive. It's missing this section right here, over here. They are hiding that. They are taking away that the life symbol was based on the female reproductive system, that it's based on the plasma deity. They found that it matched. They took away the fact that it matched, and they're hiding that. They're literally hiding it by taking away this part of it. Here's how it all puts together. So here's Yangana. I found where they actually made her a tree of life with the Sephiroth. They knew about sacred geometry. This is 13,000 years old. This is Australia. So this is way before the Bible ever said. They had figured out sacred geometry at least 13,000 years ago. It matches the tree of life. It matches the Ankh. You can make the Ankh out of the tree of life. There's the Ankh right there. These are all the same. These are all the same symbols. All of it. It's all representing life, female, the sacred feminine energy, and worship of the mother goddess. These are the fallopian tubes and the channel. All of this is the same. Here we go again. I'll show you again how the flower, the tree of life, is also the thing that creates life. The organ that creates life. Okay, so this is Temple of Hathor, and you see how the moon rises above, just like above her head right there. She was also a high symbol. See the high symbol right there? She is also based on the female reproductive system. See, once and then right there. So this is further continuance of the sacred feminine, the mother goddess. Okay, so showed you that. So this makes Yingana also, like I showed you, because there's the eggs, there's her babies. The tree of life is also a high symbol. It's life. It's literally the tree of life. And just like the Yingana, this has her babies under her wings. So are the apples. And the church does not want you to bite of the apple. You don't get to know any of this stuff. All you get to do is follow what we say, or you're going to burn in hell forever. Now give me some money. All right. This is another Garden of Eden. This is Peter Paul Rubens. And what I love about this is there's so much esotericness going on. Okay, so this is like right out of the Da Vinci Code. He's got his finger pointed, his middle finger too. Fuck you too, buddy. He's got his middle finger pointed at the rock for no apparent reason, unless you know the template, and then you see the pavo head that is there. Bird eye in the beak. Bird eye in the beak. He's literally pointing, hey, stupid, here's the secret symbol. Also, get yourself a really good high-res version of this, because this is showing that even though he's been painted to do the Adam and Eve scene, he is showing the sacred feminine. And if you get a really great high-res picture of this, you will see that he has placed sexual organs in between the fingers there, female sexual organs in between the fingers of Eve, because they are clandestinely occult, and they are showing that all of this is really a worship of the sacred feminine. And Da Vinci never gave this portrait to the man who supposedly commissioned of it, supposedly, because I don't think it's his wife. I think this is Da Vinci's mother. They've also done facial recognition that it's Da Vinci's. Well, I think it's a combination of Da Vinci's face and his mom's. And she's got a slight smile because she is doing the same thing as the Peter Paul Rubens with her fingers. And if you get yourself a really great high-res picture, Da Vinci has placed sexual organs, female sexual organs between, and I'm sure I'm the first person ever to notice this. Get yourself a really high-res, zoom in, there are female sexual organs between the fingers of the Mona Lisa. Da Vinci's mother was from North Africa. She was a slave girl, and she was from North Africa. Guess what else is in North Africa? Chad, the Eneti Massif, the Eneti Plateau. Plot thickens, right? Okay, you're going to have to see my last video that I'm going to do. I think she had a profound... We know very little about Da Vinci's life, personal life, but they lived close by, and I think she had a profound effect on his being raised and things that she knew from Africa. And I'm going to show all that. Okay, so the Popol Vuh says that the stick people were the second people after the first people. The mud people went away from because they couldn't procreate anymore. The stick people, they say, didn't have any emotions. They were and they weren't sacrificing to the gods. I think the stick people are our people from Eneti Massif in Chad. They're called stick people because they're tall, skinny African men, and they worshipped the stick figure. And the stick figures also, these are the 5 pieces of wood that we find in the pyramid. Again, there are 3 items that they found in the pyramid. I showed you one that looks like the Birkeland current thing, the ball that's in the Popol Vuh, and they also found 5 pieces of wood. Now, if you look at this image right from the Popol Vuh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think what they're saying is the stick people made this. The stick people made the pyramid. That's why I don't think the third people did it. It's the later dynastic Egyptians. They didn't do the heavy lifting and all that stuff of the really great monuments. It was the stick people, the people from Lake Chad, who had all the time in the world during the Pleistocene era to learn how to advanced megalith building. I think they just migrated east to the Nile as the Sahara encroached at the end of the Ice Age. Okay, so here they are marching along. This is from Pink Floyd's The Wall. I'm absolutely certain now the artist knew occult imagery. And who else, of course Pink Floyd would know, because this matches the Popol Vuh. Scarily enough, the Nazis were also big into all this stuff. And this may have been where they got the Hitler salute and the goose stepping. I'm not kidding. This is the ancient Popol Vuh. This has been around since it was translated in the 1600s or 1600s, I believe, 17th century. Yeah, so they had access to it. I think this is the Sieg Heil. I think this is also, and I know the Romans did something like this too. But I want to what they're saying about the Popol Vuh, what they're saying about the stick people, that they had no emotions. I don't think it was that they had no emotions. I think they were the holy people, like the Swamis and the Buddhas and stuff. It's not that they didn't have emotions; they were in control of their emotions. They were dispassionate. They were Zen, and then it goes on to say something weird, like they were mean to their dogs. They were mean to their grinding stones. I don't know what this is a parable for. I even found an old cave painting that shows these, like, I showed it in the last one actually, where Kokopelli, they're like throwing a dog, and I realized this is the story from the Popol Vuh. I almost think that we are looking at the first example of anti-Semitism. I think just like the Nazis created anti-Jewish propaganda, I think the Popol Vuh is saying that they were, mean, and they're justifying wiping them out, because that's what they did after the cataclysm. The cataclysm happened, and they said the cataclysm happened because they weren't sacrificing the gods. They were evil. They were living their lives the wrong way. I think I think the third people that became the Proto-Maya and the Maya and all that, who we still are today, is the bird cult. And the bird cult used that propaganda as the first anti-Semitism to exterminate the stick people. And we find that with the Paracas as well in Mesoamerica, that they were eliminated. The tribe who created everything in the Eneti Massif, it says that they were executed. They were sacrificed. The bird cult went around the world, and the way you became the highest member in that society, the Eagle Society, was you captured 20 people for sacrifice. They're not interbreeding. That's why there's no DNA trace. They're going places, and the way they get is they kill everybody. They're ethnically cleansing the world. And these aren't the builders. And these are the warlike people who we still are today. That's why the United States is the eagle. The flag of Mexico. Now, see, these people, the bird cult defeated the serpent cult. The flag of Mexico is an eagle with a serpent in its mouth. Anytime you see that imagery, that's what that's saying. When they say St. Patrick kicked the snakes out of Ireland, he's talking about the Druids, the remnants of the serpent cult. Okay, so here's our squatter deity, and it's a plasma deity, and you can see how it looks like a figure giving birth. This is what it also became. These are our also plasma. See, I think this was all seen in the sky at the same time. I don't think it was one and one and one and one. I think all kinds of crazy stuff was going on in the magnetosphere with this plasma exchange. Here it is. Here they are again. And by the way, this is where we get hello, Princess Amidala. Yep. Why? Because Star Wars is a cult. Star Wars is a cult, right? Okay, so here we go again. This is where like nuns' habits and all that comes from. You can really see it here. These are three sisters again. I think the Stygian witches. These are their habits. That's where they come from. Here's another. I think I dated this girl, or I want to. And you see how it's another mother goddess, and this also became the mermaids. And our Starbucks. Think about that the next time you get your mocha latte. Okay, and I found another Graham Hancock man bag in a cave painting, y'all. Woo, what? Yep. They're everywhere because it's the high symbol. And here's another high symbol. And if they drill up into it and it creates a hole, you can see there how the high symbol turns into the Ankh. Here is the Ankh again. The key. This is also a high symbol. This is like the key. This is also sexual. It's the key to life. It also became Superman. Superman was created by two Jewish guys. They have turned the feminine symbol into the masculine symbol, but it's still a high, but it's the masculine energy. So let's get back to our plasma deity here. I'm sorry. This is where it comes from. She's a plasma deity, fertility goddess. But look at the face and everything. It's monkey from Maya. I've showed you a bunch of times. This is the inspiration. It's also the inspiration for The Exorcist, because Hollywood knows. Hollywood knows. They've been mining this imagery for years. Okay, so I'm going to dive into what is known. The occult is so silly. There's no such thing as demons. There's no such thing as devils. None of that stuff is real. It was literally like if you take any noun, like boat, we can go boating. You can turn it into a verb. If you take demon and you turn it into a verb, it's demonize. You make it a demon. That's what the Catholic Church did to all this imagery, because they want the power, the Christian and the money and everything else that goes with it, so that their plasma deity is the reigning one. Their plasma deity religion, but they're all plasma deity religion. They just turned it into this. Oh, it's scary, isn't it? Oh, it's the fertility goddess. What he is, and they don't even know, is he's the squatter. He's the plasma deity. There's the head. There's the arms. There's the thing on the side. And here's a perfect example of Hollywood using this template because we're afraid of it for horror, to make us afraid, because we have equal parts fascination, we're drawn to it, and we're afraid of it. We saw it in the sky, it became the deification, it created mankind as we know it. It also destroyed the planet. All right. So, but let's look. So, Pan was a fertility god, and it looks like he's very happy about that, in fact. His lute that he plays is a high. It's shaped like a high symbol. He has the same horns as Michelangelo's Moses, because I think he's showing us that the esotericness of the creature, that it all still goes back to here. I also am wondering if they are hiding in plain sight our Birkeland current. Here's the horns, and it jumps in between. We're looking at sacred feminine energy again. Okay, so the reason why the goat was considered a fertility god, and Pan was a fertility god, was because the goat head matched the female reproductive system. So does the upside down pentagram. These were all feminine symbols. These were all symbols of feminine energy. The Catholic Church literally demonized the sacred feminine. They literally demonized feminine energy. The churches and the religions were all about worship of the sacred feminine, worship of the mother goddess. The power structure, the guys came in, the corrupt guys, and said, no. We're going to make this a male-oriented, and we're going to make it a power structure thing. This is even, look at the middle of this occult thing. That's our Yingana. They don't even know. This is Yingana upside down. This is our plasma discharge. I've been showing you the whole video. These are probably the tetragrammaton that say the name of God, but it's just a fertility symbol. And they literally demonized, just like occult. Occult just means hidden in Latin. There is no demon. It's just a hidden thing. They literally indoctrinate you from birth. You're going to die in hell. You're going to burn eternally. This is scary stuff. Stay away from it. No, it's just the other system that they don't want you to know about, because they want you to do their system that gives them all the power. So again, this is just a fertility symbol. So what they did was they took the upside down pendant, which is the feminine energy, and they turned it right side up. This is the upside down pentagram, not this one. This is the correct one. This is the ancient one. This is the perversion. This is the one that takes it from the feminine energy to the male energy. And this goes to show it right here, because you see the male energy is usually denoted by a right side up triangle. And if you notice, that's what we have here with Jesus. I love this cross because it reveals so much esotericness, this crucifix. The circles on the side are the circles on the side. Jesus would be actually right in here. This is the sun up on the top. Jesus is just another, just like the Buddha is inside of here, and we can make the high out of this. All the ancient, and the Shiva, all the ancient religions begin with the plasma deity, and Jesus is just an updated version. Mythology never ended. Also, when you have the male triangle with the unfinished, this is the cosmic mountain. It's also on the back of your dollar bill. So it's all going with this male power, money, paradigm kind of thing. And when the Jewish people actually got it right, because what works best is the male energy with the female energy, the marriage of the two, not one dominant or the other. This is the correct star that shows the balance. Let's go back to our Markland convection, and then our plasma deity, because then we get Baphomet. Baphomet is just the plasma deity. This mark up here is the head. That's the arms. The star here is right side up, so it looks like they're trying to combine. This is masculine energy. This is the feminine energy. He has breasts, just like the plasma deity. As above, so below. One arm up, one arm down. The caduceus is just this guy. More plasma going on. Remember, because I showed you that the caduceus is just this plasma discharge. So this is basically like just combining the pagan symbol for masculine and feminine energies together. There's nothing demonic about it. Again, the goat's head was a feminine symbol, was a fertility symbol, because it is the female reproductive system shape. So they're putting the male star on the. It's the equivalent of the Jewish star. And I know, I'm sorry, Jewish people, I don't mean to equate you at all with but that's where that association comes from. It's not demonic. It's an association with the feminine, the sacred feminine, the mother goddess. There is nothing demonic, nothing evil. The only evil was that it became demonized, so that the other side could keep power. So we have here our plasma deity. It also is Ishtar. It also is Pazuzu from The Exorcist, and you see Pazuzu is also the female pelvic bone as well. Again, it's fear of the feminine, fear of the feminine sacred energy. See how his wings also become. This is another Da Vinci hidden thing. You see the face. This is just Yangana face. This is the arms from the bird. You know, the bird arms they're creating the circles underneath. I don't think he knows. I think he knows the imagery, but I don't know if he knows that this is what that was making. You see this a lot in bird form. They'll have the bird circle the wings around to create the circle pattern. But it's the plasma deity. And here's another funny thing. So that's the face, and it's also Pazuzu that he's put in there. But it's also this guy from Star Wars. Why? Because Star Wars. Okay, so anyway, there's the female cocks again, and yes, Newt Gunray. What are you doing, George Lucas? I'm coming, cause no. Okay, so here's something. I'm going to wrap it up here. This is the Freemason compass and square. The G is the gnosis. Place that over the female coccyx, and you get the vagina. It is a vagina. This is another form of the feminine worship, the sacred feminine. And here's the funny thing. Here's George Washington, one of the founding fathers. The way the Freemasons wear their apron is such that it creates a vagina on their person. And that is because they are worshiping the sacred feminine. And you weren't allowed to say all that. I don't know if they know that or not, but that's what it represented. Okay, so this is the Pope's staff. This is the Baphomet. They're the same thing. They're the caduceus because they're both representing this. It's the same faith. Every faith is started the exact same point, the same imagery, the same meanings. Over time, geography, cultural differences, the corruption of lesser men, they deviated to the point where they no longer think that they're the same thing, but they are the same. They all come from the same thing. This is the electric currents that come down. They associated it with feminine energy, and I'll close with what I always love to close on, because if you don't believe me, here's our plasma deity, and this is Capitol Hill. And the Freemasons modeled they say it's an owl. It's not an owl. That's just what rich, stupid people at Bohemian Club, whatever, want to believe, because they want to feel scary and occult and evil and justify their base natures. But this is what it really was. One day I'm going to find out. I think the Freemasons must have a library or something like that. I think the Hall of Records in the back of that the guy made in the back of the Mount Rushmore, that actually looks like record, like files and stone. I think that's a real. I think he was hiding in the open. It's probably all computerized now, but I think they probably do have a room where all the original stuff is. There's got to be something that everybody's been seeing and that people know, because there's David Talbot just rediscovered all this stuff in the 70s. Somewhere in that's the occult, the hidden part. This knowledge exists somewhere else besides the rediscovery process of David Talbot and myself. There exists a source of information where people knew this stuff for a long time. That's how the carver of Mount Rushmore knew that that what he had seen in the Eneti Massif had been recreated in the South Hill, in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and he usurped it and took away this African creation and because he was a KKK guy, and put white people all up there. But if this doesn't convince you, I don't know what else I can say. This is an exact. They have modeled Capitol Hill. They were making a new Atlantis, with the United States. This was the culmination of the plasma deity. But I don't think that just because you know the high ideals doesn't mean you follow them. And on that note, this again ended up being much longer. That's my thesis for the sacred feminine, Mother Goddess's ancient occult religions. I'm Steve. This is Lance Confirmed. I'll see you on the next one. Adelante.